Hey guys, there are two people out there that seem to enjoy the unskilled labourer jobs from the old Japanese farmhouse. But most of the jobs that we do aren't really big spectacular before and after jobs. They're just repairs and maintenance and stuff like that that goes on every week. So this would be an example of that. Just finished mowing the grass and the mower started to cough and splutter just as the job was finishing, and then it was noted that there was a disturbing amount of oil where there shouldn't be, outside the engine instead of inside. So that's not good. So the unskilled labourer is unskilled in many fields and highly unskilled in the mechanical field. So it's like, oh no, what are you going to do about this? So pilot training does include some mechanical skills, or mechanical understanding is probably a better way to put it. As you can imagine, it's very important that pilots know how to keep engines running and stop them from stopping unexpectedly and that sort of thing. But they're not actually allowed to fix aircraft engines or repair them. So no hands-on experience, just a little bit of basic knowledge of mechanics. So drained the fuel tank, or pumped the fuel tank dry so we could tip the thing on its side. And again, some people ask about the how to go about, or how the unskilled labourer goes about these sorts of jobs. It's just basically looking at it and working out. So in this case, to get to the bottom of the engine where that oil seal was leaking from, the only way to do that was to take the blade off the bottom and then to take the engine off the frame, and that would allow access to the bottom of the engine where the bolts were that held the bottom part of that engine on. So at this stage, that's what's happened. Taken the engine off the frame. It's just sitting on top of the frame now, so we got access to the bottom. Now the plan was to take that bottom part of the engine off because we're suspecting that there's a seal or a gasket or something in there that's blown. But in trying to take the bottom part off, it was noted that the bolts that were holding it on were really loose. So some of you might remember from 8 years ago we bought this mower from a Japanese company, but it was actually imported from China because four-stroke mowers like this are not popular in Japan. People don't use them, they use little electric toy ones. But it was noted that that bottom part of the engine was really loose, that the bolts that held it on were really loose. So we suspect you're supposed to use a tension wrench and not put too much tension on putting the engine back together there, but we went hard and really put it back on tight, suspecting that might be the end of the problem, because probably the seal or the gasket probably still needs to be replaced, but the fact that it was so loose was probably the main cause of the problem. So putting it back together now. So we've been pretty happy with this mower. It's been pretty good. It starts pretty easily. You know, we use it for probably 6 hours in summer every week. In winter, probably once in 3 or 4 months. You know, so summer when everything grows, it gets used every week. In winter, nothing grows. 3 or 4 months, it has a rest. And it's been pretty good. It's tinny. It's not real good quality. Australia has Victor mowers, which are like tanks, and you can keep them for 50, 60 years. But this is all very tinny and soon gets rusty if you don't take care of it. And it seems that that's possibly the problem. The engine was just shaking that much on the top that it shook those bolts loose, maybe, because they were pretty loose, so almost finger loose, you know. So now, okay, checking the spark plug. It's disgusting. So give that a clean. Just a small wire brush, not too tough, not too serious. Just a small wire brush. Give it a good brushing. Clean it off. Just trying to extend the life of this thing. You can see there's a few dodgy things on it already. There's things that break. The pull starter broke, and the little control the throttle, the little throttle broke. So that's just using some gasoline there, and the wire brush just to give the spark plug a good clean up. So yeah, it's not going to last forever, this thing. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? We know it's not going to last forever, it's going to die eventually, but just extending its life as long as possible, you know, what we normally do with things like this. So we're throwing the spark plug back in. So while it's up there, take out the air filter. That seems to get dirty pretty quick. It's sort of a spongy rubber type thing, that air filter, so we found that we can actually wash it. So we take it and wash it in a bucket of water, and it seems to work pretty well. Leave it out in the sun to dry, and that seems to get oily and wet in there, oily and dusty in there, so water cleans it. So a little bit more oil to replace that was burnt up, and then fill it up with gasoline again, and take it outside for a test. Here we go. Happy ending, that worked. There it goes. More videos coming soon.